Welcome to Con Critic, the show that gets facts wrong about your favorite con. I'm Jan, and in this episode, we'll be looking at a language named after two of its honorific suffixes, Deyora. Before we move on, I'd like to provide a disclaimer. Deyora actually has several dialects that differ in phonology and orthography, so what I'll be describing in this video are just the features of one specific conservative dialect. And speaking of phonology, that's what I'm going over right now. Deora's consonants are m, n, d, k, d, g, s, h, z, y, r, la. The two things that are most apparent here are the lack of phonemic labial obstruents, or that soon, and how the sole liquid consonant is an alveolar lateral tap la. Deora's vowels are e, u, e, o, a. This is an example of a variation of the classic 5-vowel system. The one difference is that the close back vowel is instead of u. Deora's syllable structure is optional consonant vowel optional n, although the sequences y, y and r aren't allowed, and they just collapse to e and Also, remember when I said that Deyora has no phonemic labial obstruents? Well, there are a handful of allophonic rules for consonant realization. Including some realizations after closed vowels, and realizations of coda N, which show that Deyora does in fact have some labial obstruents at the phonetic level. Deora's Deora's romanization, as you saw from the phoneme inventory charts earlier, is pretty straightforward. However, the labial stops that show up alphonically are spelled out for the sake of clarifying pronunciation. Deora's official writing system is hiragana, as seen in this table. However, I'll be continuing to use the romanization for the rest of this video. Deora's grammar has some rather interesting features, and its syntax is a lot like that of Lungi Evo Navigera, with an SOV word order and the lack of a distinction between adjectives and verbs. But the rest of this section will look over Deora's morphology. The only thing that nouns and Deyora mark for is case. Alright, now that nouns have been covered, let's look at Deora's verb morphology, which as you can see here is very complicated. Deyora verbs mark for an honorific that indicates both the gender and the social status of both the speaker and the listener. As I've hinted at earlier, it's from two of those suffixes, Deyora and Yora, that the name of the Deyora language derives from. Anyway, verbs also mark for case agreement with their subjects, since Deyora doesn't distinguish between verbs and adjectives, as I said before. Person and evidentiality, mood, tense, negation, and voice. Now it's time to look at a Deyora sample text. It's a translation of this diatribe, although the gloss has been lost to time, but I'll be reading the Deyora translation regardless. Zembalaye ahi nodelambuga hari zembara torudera hahera seruderao horuderao dainzo horuye aviderazo sare aderao lia delaumbuga. Anyway, as for reading Deyora, I don't have much to note about Deyora itself. It's a fairly normal conlang by my own conlang standards, but to give a summary, it's excuse me, it at least has verb morphology chaos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time where I'll be showcasing Doki Teo Potowea.